Okay, Mr. Ozoso, I'm just trying to look back and think of when NLC will call out the people, and it would seem like it's a huge force. People would, when NLC says go this way, people will go that way. But it doesn't seem like that's what we have today. We have issues of credibility. Maybe part of it being that the division within NLC itself. How do you think, as you say, for instance, in the next 10 years, that NLC will go back, to those ideals and founding principles of the founding fathers?
Well, that's part of the challenge that we face. Yes, NLC calls people out and they go. But also, let us be factual. The only time that the NLC price hike in fuel, and you should situate that within the Nigerian politics, because what happened was that we were people who politicized the matter. And because they were in a party, their party was in government, they decided to undermine part of that process. They were able to succeed because of the division, and you are right, because they actually used some of these our colleagues to undermine that struggle. But even since then, we've had several rallies on other issues, and there was mass turnout. And I think that what is important going forward in the next 10 years, yes, we need to reinvent, as it were. We need to go back to the ideals of the founding fathers and do what will strengthen this movement and in relation to the Nigerian people. These were some of the issues of analysis that constituted the celebration program. And we do hope that coming from the various presentations and the various discussions that took place in the framework of this celebration, that yes, we're going to also put some of them into practice and then hope that a more formidable force would emerge. But let us not over-dramatize the issue that one strike, one protest was called out. But it lasted even 3 days, even when people were undermining it, even when people recruited people to come and physically disrupt it, because these are facts of the situation. And we must continue to place these things within the correct historical, political context.
Okay, how well would you say the NLC has been able to fight for the rights of the Nigerian workers? If you look at it, state governors are still owing. You find some private organizations also infringing on the rights of their workers.
Yes, well, in terms of fighting for the rights of the workers, what the NLC has done is where those issues arise, NLC has mobilized and has tried to fight to make sure that the interests of the workers were protected. You will recall the huge rallies that the NLC did in occupying Owerri. And you will recall even more recently, this a huge rally in Kaduna, and there have been several others. You will recall the picketing of MTN that continues to deprive workers' right to unionize and do what they need to do to protect themselves, and various other places. So it is not it's not a stop-gap issue. It is a continuous struggle that must be waged. And the interests of the workers need to be protected. We use both the protests on the streets, picketing, organizing, and also legal, because we're also in court against some of those governors that you are talking about. And we use all these tools that are at our disposal to try to ensure that we get the best in terms of protecting the rights of the workers. It is a continuous struggle. These are very challenging times, and we do hope that even with these monumental challenges, with governors not living to their responsibilities, with new forms of work that are anti-workers' rights, and it is global, it's not just Nigeria, these developments, but we will also continue to sharpen the instruments we use in engaging these processes. And we hope that our workers, our members, and Nigerians generally will also rise and cooperate in ensuring that these struggles yield the desired results.
I'm sure you've heard the news about the minimum wage coming into effect in September. What's your take on this?
Well, we made the demand for the review of the minimum wage, and we made that demand almost 2 years ago. And we have been pressuring, but as of now, the tripartite committee has been set up. We are members of the tripartite committee. The issue as to when it will come into effect is actually it's an outcome, as it were, of some of the work that is going on. Because a timetable was actually brought to the tripartite committee that would have ended next year, 2019. And it was engaging that led to say, no, this work needs to be done quicker. And we then looked at the work plan and came to the conclusion that all the work, including commission studies, that all those can be concluded, and we must aim to ensure that by the end of August, that the minimum wage would be in place. That is like at the latest. But since we are within the the tripartite committee work, we also will try to expedite the work so that if it is possible, it will come even before then. But what is crucial as of now is for us to muster all the relevant data, put all the relevant studies on the table to canvass and defend the demands that we have made. And through that process, I hope that we will have what may be close to a living wage for workers as the minimum wage.